Welcome back to Lone Star Spirit. We are continuing our tracking of Tropical Storm Beryl as it moves across the Gulf of Mexico on a collision course with the Texas Gulf Coast. We're going to look at a few different things, and we're going to be using the National Hurricane Center and the Windy app to kind of see where everything is going. It looks like the models are starting to kind of come together at least a little bit, but I wanted to wait until the last update. And in the central time zone, those updates are going to be 4 a.m., 10 a.m., 4 p.m., and 10 p.m. And we're about 10 minutes to 12 right now. This is like the third or fourth time I've tried to put this video up. But there have been significant changes since the last update that I posted yesterday evening. And I'm going to do my best to kind of bring you up to speed on that. We're going to look at some possible wind gusts and things. So this may be a little bit longer of a video than I normally do. But I think that this is the time to actually get everyone prepared and have as much knowledge on this incoming storm as I can provide to you. Again, I am not a meteorologist. I'm not trained in weather or anything like that, but I do have a very healthy respect and somewhat morbid fascination with severe weather, especially during hurricane season. I take hurricanes very, very seriously, right up there with tornadoes and things like that. So let's go ahead and get into today's episode. All right, the first thing we're going to look at graphic-wise from the National Hurricane Center is that cone of uncertainty that they put out, and this kind of gives you an idea of the projected path. It gives you a little bit of a leeway as to where it's going to go. And you can see that it is definitely going towards anywhere from about Corpus Christi to just south of Houston, probably closer to Galveston, Freeport area. And we'll see with the models how that is going to change. Also want to look at the flood or flash flood risk over the next 5 days. This is again from the National Hurricane Center, and you can see there in that kind of a pinkish red that's there, areas west and south of Houston, all the way over going towards San Antonio, is going to have the greatest risk of flash flooding over the next 5 days. Now, forecasters have said that there is a very distinct chance that there is going to be somewhere between 8 to 12 inches of rain starting late Sunday. We're going to start seeing those outer bands come on shore. And with those outer bands, of course, you have to worry about tornadic activity and things like that, especially on that northeast side of the storm. So we're looking parts of Brazoria County, Matagorda County, going into Wharton County, and going all the way just north of Waco, not quite reaching the Dallas-Fort Worth area with that significant red area where the flash flooding is going to probably be most common. So Fort Bend and areas north of there are going to be at the highest risk for flash flooding. When it comes to the arrival of tropical storm force winds for those along the Texas Gulf Coast, we're looking at sometime Sunday, late afternoon, early evening, for those winds to start coming in. And tropical storm force winds or sustained winds of 35 miles per hour or greater. And a lot of it depends on how much this system is going to strengthen over the next day and a half. This may change. It probably will change. Depending on the speed, it may speed up a little bit, slow down. There's still a lot of uncertainties when it comes to the path and the strength of this storm. Also, with the peak surge forecast, this is also again from the National Hurricane Center. You can see that right there between Corpus Christi and Matagorda Bay, you're going to have your biggest peak surge of 3 to 5 feet. And then once you get closer to High Island around San Luis Pass, Brazoria County, and then further down along the southern Texas Gulf Coast, getting closer to the mouth of the Rio Grande River, you're going to have 2 to 4 feet of storm surge. And you do notice that it does go all the way into the Houston Ship Channel. Now, one thing that does need to be stressed here is that this area, pretty much all along the Gulf Coast area, it does not elevate that much from sea level. 1 to 3 feet is basically the elevation, as far as maybe 5 to 7 miles in before you start getting into the 5, 6, 7 feet above sea level. So the storm surge, especially along the beaches along the Texas Gulf Coast between Corpus Christi and up toward past Matagorda Bay, you're going to see the absolute worst of this as of the 10 a.m. update. So that's where we're sitting with that. All right, so let's go ahead and switch on over to our Windy app and just kind of look at where these storms are going to wind up according to the GFS, the European model, and the Icon model. All right, we're going to start with the Icon model, and I've brought it just to either before or during actual landfall. And according to the Icon model, landfall is going to be somewhere around 2 a.m. on Monday. So this is going to be a nocturnal type of situation here. And you can see that as of right now, the latest update, the millibars for this storm are going to be 987. So that's going to make it, according to this right now, that's going to be a high-end tropical storm. I have watched a lot of other forecasters, of course, the three that I typically watch, which are Weatherman Plus, Max Velocity, and Mr. Weatherman. And the one that I trust the most, which is Weatherman Plus, he is leaning toward it being a little bit stronger, minimal, Category 1, all the way up to a low-grade Cat 3 hurricane, and that is due to the amount of time it could potentially stay over very shallow, warm water close to the Gulf Coast. Now, as you can see here with this one, this is the Icon model. It is forecasted at this time to go into East Matagorda Bay, which is going to be east of Palacios and south of Bay City. With that, you're going to have a lot of storm surge in the Surfside Freeport area, all the way up going toward Jamaica Beach, and even possibly even High Island, Port Boulevard, Galveston itself. Again, this area right here is going to be at risk of the most rain, tornadic activity, and the highest winds. That's going to be your dirty side of that storm. So let's go ahead and see what it's going to do once it reaches landfall, 2 a.m. on Monday morning, according to the Icon model. And put that in motion. And it won't let me. Okay. There we go. So there we can see that it goes almost due north, headed right straight for the Katy area. Katy and Tomball are going to be right there, real close to the center of circulation. So Cleveland, Kingwood, Beach City, Alvin, and points to the east and north are going to be on that dirty side of the storm. And you can see right here that the millibars really don't weaken all that much once it gets on land. And there is some concern that it may actually strengthen slightly even after it makes landfall. Of course, once we get a little bit closer to landfall occurring, we'll have a lot more concise information when it comes to where this is going to go and what the intensity of the storm is going to be. All right, next one we're going to look at is going to be the European model, and we're going to bring it up to where it makes landfall, which is going to be around Monday. Let's back that up just a little bit. So according to the European model, it is going to make landfall just south of where Icon is saying, close to the sea drift area. And this is typically the one that everybody is kind of leaning toward with the forecasting, is the European model, that it's going to affect Matagorda Bay and the sea drift, Rockport, Port Lavaca, Palacios area right there. And we're going to zoom out just a little bit and see where this storm is going to be once it hits land. Now, again, Bay City, Lake Jackson, points west of the Brazos River and going up into Katy, the Rosenberg, Richmond area, maybe even parts of West Houston, Columbus. You're probably going to see a lot of heavy high winds, a lot of rain. Again, talking about 8 to 12 inches of rain associated with this storm. Let's go ahead and put it in motion and see where the Euro has it going after landfall. And it looks like it's going to go right there just east of Victoria and west of Columbus, and then start taking more of a northeasterly direction going toward Giddings. And just, it looks like probably just going to be just slightly to the west of Giddings. So that's going to make Brenham, College Station, maybe even Tomball, Huntsville. You're going to be on that dirty side of it as it passes through. So you want to make sure that you've taken the precautions necessary. I know for Brenham, I lived there for about 4 years. There's a lot of hills and valleys in that area. Same could be said for College Station. Once you get into middle part of Austin County, it goes from a pretty much flat coastal plain to more of a hilly hills and valleys type of area. So Brenham can be very susceptible to flash flooding in that area. Same could be said for Giddings and College Station. All right, last one we're going to look at with the projected outcome or projected path of the hurricane or storm. And we're going to be looking at it coming in right around the sea drift area, Rockport, Port Aransas, and we're going to zoom out just a little bit. You can see that center of circulation, 4 a.m. here. 6 a.m. it is up near sea drift. So the GFS and the European model are kind of starting to come together with this one. The Icon has it going slightly a little bit more north than the other two really do. But Icon so far has been the one that it hasn't been perfect, but it has been the closest to the actual path that Beryl has taken. And zoom out just once more, and we're going to go ahead and look at what the storm is predicted to do, according to the GFS, after making landfall. It goes right over Victoria, starts heading up towards the Gonzales, Columbus area, and then starts making that northeasterly turn as it passes Giddings, going into Rockdale, and then it should head up into East Texas and northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas. One thing that I did want to do with this is look at possible wind speeds in various locations from the different models as this storm comes on shore. So we're going to go ahead and look at that now. All right, we're back on the Icon model, and we're going to be looking at winds, not wind gusts, but actual winds as the system comes on shore and how it's going to affect. And what I've got set up right here, this is right at Palacios. Actually, we'll move that just a little bit. Right there, Palacios, which is where Icon says that it's going to be just to the west of landfall when it comes to this system. So we're going to put that in motion. I've started it at 12 a.m. on Monday, and I want you to watch what the weather or what the wind speeds will be doing. Winds will be coming out of the north at that time, and here we go, 28, 30, and these are just straight winds. These are not gusts. So you're going to have sustained winds of anywhere from 32 to 33 miles an hour, staying in the 20s, and then finally dropping off into the teens around noon. So for 12 hours, you're going to have pretty gusty, pretty strong winds coming in at Palacios as this storm comes on shore. Now we're going to back it up and we're going to change position, go back to the 12 a.m. and we're going to move this right where my mother lives. They're in Wild Peach. We're going to back it up just a little bit. And this is another reason I absolutely love this windy app right here. So 22 miles an hour as of midnight Monday morning. And again, this is going to be on that loaded side of that northeast quadrant, that eastern quadrant of the storm. Go ahead and put this in motion as the storm comes on. So you're going to have sustained winds, 18, 13, 24. As it passes, you notice that the winds actually gain strength, and we'll stop it right at noon. By noon on the 8th, we're back down to 14 miles an hour, and these winds will be coming out of the southwest. Now, what I want to do is we're going to go back to Palacios over here and see what the wind is going to be at Palacios, the wind gust. So we're going to go over here. We're going to change it to wind gust. Going to move it back to midnight Monday, early Monday morning. If I can get it there. There we go. So as of midnight Monday morning, you're already in tropical storm force winds that are going to be coming out of looks like the northeast. These are wind gusts, and then you can see that these wind gusts are really nothing to play with. 64 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, and again going into the noontime hour on Monday, we're still having gusts of 30 miles an hour and better. So winds in excess of 40 miles an hour can really cause damage to objects outside, tree limbs falling, especially if care hasn't been taken for those. If you haven't pruned trees, if you've got maybe rotten trees, stuff like that around your house, please be mindful of that. All right, now we're going to go ahead and move back over to Brazoria, Wild Peach area, and see what the wind gusts are going to be starting at midnight Monday, already at wind gusts of 58 miles an hour there in the Wild Peach area of Brazoria County, which is going to be on that dirty side of the storm. Let's go ahead and put that in motion. 58, 70 mile an hour winds that are these gusts, 70 mile an hour winds, 73, 75. And again, we're going to have gusty winds all the way through the noontime hour on Monday. So we saw 74 mile an hour winds. Now, earlier, before the new update came out, it had winds at this exact spot once again in excess of 92 miles an hour. Now, these are just forecasts. This is not set in stone, but 72 miles an hour wind gust is nothing to shake. It's nothing to just disregard. It's something that you need to make sure that you have any loose objects outside, chairs, lumber, anything like that, that you secure those items in a garage, in a shed, something like that, because those can easily turn into projectiles and cause damage to vehicles, structures, things like that. So it could be in excess. We could have wind gusts that top 90 miles an hour. These are just forecasts. So we really need to make sure that we have done everything we can to secure outdoor objects that could potentially turn into projectiles. All right, now we're going to go back to the European model, go back to Monday at midnight. If I can get it. There we go. Okay. So with this particular model, this one has it going more toward this area right here, just south and west of Matagorda Bay. We're going to zoom in here. We're going to see what the winds are going to be at sea drift, and we're going to change it back to just regular wind. We're going to put that right there at sea drift. All right. So just regular straight winds Monday at midnight, 23 miles an hour out of the east. Put that in motion, and you can see that the winds are going to consistently pick up. 37 mile an hour, 46 mile an hour. We're definitely in tropical storm force winds. As the eye goes over sea drift, it almost goes away. So you're going to have sustained winds well in advance of 30 miles an hour into the noontime hour. Now let's go ahead and change it to wind gusts. Take it back to midnight. Well, we'll get as close to midnight. There we go. And look at what the wind gusts are going to be. So at midnight, we're already at 38 miles an hour for wind gusts. According to the European model, put that in motion. 44, 48, 52, 72, 83, 84, 88. So we're 90 miles an hour wind gusts as this storm comes on shore at sea drift. And again, you're still in the 30s as of 7 p.m., 9 p.m., Monday evening, Monday night. Now, we're going to go back up to the Brazoria area. We're going to see what wind speeds are going to be there if this storm comes in south of Matagorda Bay. And here we go. So 29 mile an hour gusts. And it stays pretty good until about 5 a.m. Then we start getting into 33, 37, 41, getting into the 50s, 56. So 56 as of right now looks like, according to the European model, 56. And you could go 60 to 65 miles an hour with wind gusts with these storms as it goes through, and that's through 33. You're still having wind gusts of 33 miles an hour into the late evening of Monday as this storm goes through. Finally, we're going to look at the GFS model, or the American model. Move that back to midnight Monday morning, and we're going to be zooming down. So let's go ahead and look at what it's going to be, say, at Rockport. And we're going to change it back to just normal wind at Rockport. Already at 24, sustained 24 miles an hour as of midnight Monday coming through. Now, this is going to be more on the eastern side, or the western side, so the winds are not going to be nearly as bad on that western side, but you're still getting 30-mile-an-hour winds until about 10 o'clock in the morning. Now, let's change that to wind gusts and do a comparison there. Back at 12 a.m. on Monday, 32-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Again, this is on the western side of the system, which is going to be a lot drier. The winds should not be as bad there at Rockport. And putting that in motion, 34, you're still getting 30, 35, 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts as the storm passes through. Not too terribly bad, but again, it is still 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Again, can be very detrimental to outdoor objects. Again, 40 miles an hour can turn a chair into a projectile if the wind catches it just right. Now, let's compare that to the American model with the European model, and we're going to go back to Seadrift and see what we get there at Seadrift with the winds. Go back to midnight. We'll start it at 11 p.m. Sunday. So 23-mile-an-hour winds out of the east as we go through. And it just increments, goes up, a little bit down. And again, since it's so close to the eye, and the eye is expecting, according to the Euro, to go right over the town of Seadrift, you may get that little bit of a break there. And through Monday at 2 p.m., you're still got sustained 22-mile-an-hour winds. Now let's change that back over to wind gusts. And we're going to go back to Seadrift. I did not want that. Put our marker right there on the north side of Seadrift. Take this back down to midnight Monday. 34-mile-an-hour wind gusts. 36. Getting close to the 40s. Into the 40s. 39, 40, 42, 47, 51. And this is all morning. It is going to be a windy, gusty mess with this storm, depending on where it's going to go. Now, we're going to go all the way back up, back to the Brazoria area. I didn't mean to go in that far. There we go. And we're going to try to put that in the same spot. Monday, 36. And you notice that these winds are coming out of the southeast, getting up into the mid 40s, 47, 46, 45. May not actually get much past 50 to 55-mile-an-hour wind gusts all the way through Monday into Monday evening. But this is dependent upon where the actual storm makes landfall. So If it's the icon, you're going to have much more higher wind gusts going toward Brazoria County, much less if you're on the western side, as this great website has been able to show you. Now, excuse me, since my son does live up in Houston area, we're going to go try to find where he's going to be. Southwest Freeway. He's going to be somewhere in this area right here, I want to say. So we're going to put a marker right there, and we're going to go back to the icon and see what wind gusts are going to be as of Monday. So it's already very gusty. There's 69 miles an hour, 85 miles an hour, 88 miles an hour. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for these wind gusts to be in excess of 90 miles an hour. And this is going to be going on for at least the majority of the morning. That stopped it at 3 p.m. You're still getting 31 mile an hour wind gusts. Now let's look at what the wind, just a straight regular wind, says for that area of Houston. For that same time period. You're going to have just not gusts, but 34 miles an hour. And it's not looking like it's going to get insanely out of control. 36, I believe, was the highest that I saw there. But that's, I mean, again, that is nothing to not take seriously. And that's through 5 p.m. The wind will finally start to calm down to about 7 miles an hour as of Monday around 5 o'clock, which is pretty awesome. That's one less thing that I feel I have to worry about when it comes to family and friends. So, as I said, this one is a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but I do feel that it's necessary that we know everything we need to know when it comes to this storm. I know this is probably going to be a lot longer than I normally put out, but the importance is that the information is out there. And again, our next update from the National Hurricane Center is going to be 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will more than likely be back with another video shortly after that to make sure that everyone that watches this channel and is concerned about this storm has the information that they need. And chances are a lot of this information that I've shared with you so far in this video will change somewhat. It may be a small change. It may be more of a drastic change. But again, make sure that if you do not have a weather radio, go to your Ace Hardwares, go to anywhere that could potentially, Walmart, Target, wherever they've got them, Best Buy, what have you. Make sure you get a weather radio. I've got my small weather radio. It has been on for the last 4 days and it nonstop. Even when I'm not here, I leave it on. I go to sleep with it on. I've got another one right here that I'm charging. That way I know that I've got everything covered when it comes to weather radios and making sure I get the most pertinent and up-to-date information about this storm. Also, make sure that you're keeping an eye either on your phone or in the comfort of your home, on your laptop, your desktop, that you're going to the National Hurricane Center website to get those updates as well. Remember, they are updating Central Standard Time, 4 a.m., 10 a.m., 4 p.m., 10 p.m., and getting those updates. So if you need to make plans or preparations, you are making the right moves to do whatever you need to do to make sure that you you and your family, your loved ones, your property is as protected as humanly possible. So I'll be back again later this afternoon with the new update after 4 o'clock. It'll probably be closer to 5:30 when I get that out. However, in the meantime, everyone stay safe, keep your eye on the Gulf, and we'll talk to you this afternoon. I'm Charles. This is Lone Star Spirit. Stay safe, everyone.